Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The hallway smelled like fresh lilies and floor polish, remnants of Beatrice's wedding preparations. I lingered just outside her bedroom door, fingers curling and uncurling against my skirt. I'd rehearsed the question a dozen times, but when I finally knocked, my voice faltered. "Bea, can I talk to you?" Beatrice appeared in the doorway, makeup half done, her hair swept up in elegant waves. Her smile, usually warm, flattened into a polite grimace. "Now's not a good time, Molly. We're about to leave for the rehearsal dinner." I tried to keep my tone steady. "Why can't I come?" Her shoulders stiffened, and for a moment, she didn't answer. "We already talked about this." "No, you talked." I listened. My throat tightened. "I'm your sister. I won't cause any trouble. I just want to be there." Her expression turned cold. "It's an adults-only wedding. Rules are rules, Molly. Stop making this about you." Behind her, I spotted Fernando lounging on her bed, fiddling with his cufflinks. He smirked when he caught my eye. "Give it up, moles. You're 15. You're not exactly the life of the party." Beatrice shot him a look, but the damage was done. My face burned as if he'd slapped me. "I just wanted to be there for you." My voice came out small. Beatrice exhaled sharply and glanced at her watch. "I can't do this right now." She shut the door before I could reply. I stood there, staring at the smooth wood, until I heard my father's voice behind me. "Molly." I turned to face him. His arms were crossed, his expression unreadable. "You need to stop acting like a spoiled child. They're your siblings. Be happy for them." "Happy for what? That I'm not good enough to be there." His jaw twitched. "This attitude of yours, you'll regret it when you're older." I didn't say another word. I just walked past him, down the stairs, and out into the cool evening air. The truth was clear now. I wasn't a part of them. Not really. That was the night I stopped trying. The line was drawn. The reception hall buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses as I scrolled through my phone, alone on the couch in my childhood home. My cousin Emma had sent a video. My brother Fernando twirling his new bride across the dance floor. The guests cheered, their faces glowing under the chandelier lights. "Looks like fun, doesn't it?" Emma's message read. I stared at the screen, my chest tightening. The people in the video were my family. Uncles, aunts, cousins, but they might as well have been strangers. I tossed my phone onto the cushion beside me as my mother's footsteps clicked into the room. "Still sulking, Molly?" she asked, her voice sharp as a needle. I didn't look at her. "I'm not sulking." "You didn't even congratulate Fernando properly." She crossed her arms, her silk dress catching the light. "He noticed, you know." I turned to face her. "How exactly do you congratulate someone for something you're not invited to?" Her eyes narrowed. "Don't start." "I'm just asking." I stood up, my voice calm but firm. "Do I not count as family, or am I only family when it's convenient?" She scoffed, as though my words were absurd. "It was a decision, Molly. Adults only, no exceptions." I took a step forward, holding her gaze. "That's fine, but don't expect me to play nice when I'm left out of every important moment." She opened her mouth, likely to scold me, but I didn't wait. I grabbed my phone and walked past her, the click of her heels chasing me down the hall. "Molly, don't you dare walk away." I didn't stop. Somewhere in the distance, Fernando's voice echoed through the video, "Tell family." And I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. A family without names, I thought. At least none that included mine. The knock at my door was thunderous, shaking the frame as though it might shatter. I swung it open, and there they stood, my parents, dressed as though they'd come to deliver a sermon. My father, with his furrowed brow, pushed his way inside first. My mother followed, clutching her handbag like it contained all the world's arguments. "Sit down, Molly," my father ordered, his voice gruff. I didn't move. "Is this an ambush?" I asked, crossing my arms. "Molly, enough," my mother snapped. "We're here because this has gone too far." "What has?" I shot back. "Me setting boundaries for once." My father ran a hand through his graying hair. "You're being childish. Not inviting your siblings to your wedding? What will people think?" "They'll think I finally grew a backbone," I replied coolly. My mother gasped, as though I cursed her. "We raised you better than this. Family sticks together." I laughed, bitter and sharp. "Like when I stuck together outside your weddings?" Oh wait, I wasn't important enough then. For a moment, they were silent, the weight of my words heavy in the room. Then my father, red-faced, barked. "That was years ago, Molly. Move on. And let you sweep it under the rug." I shook my head, my voice steady. "No. You don't get to decide when I'm done hurting." My mother's eyes glistened as she whispered, "You're tearing this family apart." I stepped back toward the door, holding it open. "No. I'm just not letting you tear me apart anymore." They exchanged stunned glances before my father stormed out, my mother trailing after him. The door clicked shut, and for the first time, the silence felt like victory. It started with a text from an old classmate. "Your mom's been sharing photos from your wedding. Thought you'd want to know." I froze, staring at the message. Moments later, the photos appeared, my dress, the cake, a blurry shot of me dancing with Liam. Photos she had no right to see, let alone share. I gripped my phone, my stomach twisting with rage. Seconds later, the phone rang. My mother's name flashed on the screen. I answered. "Molly," she began sweetly, the kind of sweetness that felt poisonous. "I've been seeing photos of your wedding. It looked nice. Why would you hide such a beautiful day from your family? Where did you get those pictures?" I shot back. "Friends of friends," she replied nonchalantly. "People were confused why we weren't there. I had to explain your selfishness, of course." "You what?" My voice trembled with anger. "Molly, you've always been dramatic. You embarrassed us, and now you're angry that people see the truth. You pushed your family away." "No," I said sharply. "You're still trying to control me, even now. I see what you're doing." "Molly." I hung up before she could finish, my heart pounding. Outside, Liam walked in with a coffee, noticing my face. "What happened?" I handed him my phone. He scanned the photos, shaking his head. "They're relentless." I exhaled deeply, forcing calm. "They can keep the photos. I'm done explaining myself." The knock came just after sunset. I knew it was them before I opened the door. My parents, standing stiffly on the porch like strangers. My mother's smile was tight, forced, while my father's gaze lingered somewhere over my shoulder, avoiding me altogether. "Can we come in?" she asked. Liam stood a few steps behind me, silent but steady. I glanced at him before stepping aside. 5 minutes, I said flatly. They sat on the edge of the couch as though it might bite. My mother clasped her purse tightly, her voice soft as she began. "Molly, we just want to understand. Cutting us off? It's not right. Families fight, but they forgive." "Forgive?" I repeated, my voice rising. "For years, I was invisible to you. I was a child excluded from my own siblings' lives. When I stood up for myself, you painted me as the villain. That's not fair, my father interjected, finally looking at me. We did our best. You're blowing this out of proportion. I laughed bitterly. That's what you tell yourselves, isn't it? But here's the truth. Your best was never good enough for me. Silence stretched heavy between us. My mother's face hardened, her voice cold. You're poisoning yourself with resentment, Molly. And when you realize it, it'll be too late. No, I said calmly, standing. I'm free from it. And this, I gestured between us. This is the last time you'll try to pull me back. They stared at me, stunned. My father rose first, shaking his head as he walked out. My mother hesitated, searching my face for some crack, some weakness, but found none. I hope you'll regret this, she whispered, before following him out the door. The call came late one evening, my mother's name flashing on the screen. My hand hovered over the phone for a beat before I silenced it. Liam glanced up from the baby crib he was assembling. Them again? Yeah, I murmured, pressing a hand to my growing belly. The kicks were faint, but steady, reminders of the life I was building. A message followed moments later. The baby deserves to know their family. Don't let your bitterness punish an innocent child. I sighed, reading the words aloud. Liam shook his head, his voice firm. It's their last trick, using the baby to pull you back. I nodded, a calm determination settling over me. They think I'll fold, but they don't understand. I'm protecting this child from what I had to endure. The months passed quickly. Friends filled our home with love, and Liam's unwavering support became my anchor. When our son Henry was finally born, I held him close, tears of joy streaming freely. This, I whispered to his tiny sleeping form, this is love. Safe, untainted, and real. There were no calls from my family that day, and I didn't expect any. They were shadows in my rear view now, left behind on a road I no longer traveled. As I watched Liam cradle Henry for the first time, I felt a wave of peace I'd never known before. My son would never question his worth. He would grow up surrounded by warmth, respect, and the kind of love that doesn't ask you to earn it. For the first time, my world felt whole, and I knew I'd broken the cycle.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.